Hello, this is a video both on the history of my channel and it's my submission for my independent study, topics in film and video, specifically digital storytelling. So that's what this is, in very loose terms. So before I describe how I make my videos, so just something I gotta get right out of the way. Most of my channel is based on Digimon, and you may not have heard of it. It's possible you may not have. And a lot of people have heard of Pokemon, which is the highly popular TV show games from Japan. This came out around the same time, but as opposed to the idea that Pokemon does, where it's like catch every single Pokemon imaginable, Digimon always focused more on one Digimon at a time. It wasn't so much your goal to like collect every Digimon as it was to just like raise one and just kind of raise it the best you could. And it's also widely regarded as having the better TV show than Pokemon, as it followed like an actual plot, and it wasn't just like a week to week, like, oh, what shenanigans are we getting up to this week? It was more of a building story arcs and whatnot. So it's got a smaller following. It's a very niche following, but that is more or less what most of the channel is based on. That being said, the type of videos I do are basically I'll play a video game and I'll do live commentary over it. So like, for example, like I'd get to the start screen, introduce myself, and then as I'm playing, I would either read the dialogue and comment on it, or I would play and I'd comment when something's like kind of out of the ordinary happens or whatnot. And sometimes if there's nothing going on, I'll just, shoot the shit, talk about my day and stuff like that. And people seem to like that. So, that is the gist of this. My very first video, and sort of how I got my start, and this is why I told you this before, was Digimon World. What's up, everyone? Gonna do a Let's Play for Digimon World 1. That was the sound of a bottle hitting the ground, which was the first Digimon video game released in the US and outside of Japan. It was a strange choice for my first pick because I beat it once on my own, but I'd never really I knew a decent amount about the game. Typically, when you do these kind of videos, they're either games you know nothing about, so that every experience is fresh and people enjoy that, or they're games you've beaten to death, so you can talk about every little tiny aspect of it that you've seen. But for me, it fell somewhere in the middle, which I guess sort of worked. But I guess so. Moving forward, I have trouble going back and looking at these videos now because this was about 4.5 years ago, and not only have I changed as, and if I'm allowed to use this term, entertainer, I've also come leaps and bounds in terms of technical quality. Like for all of the entire Digimon World videos, all of the screens have like black bars on the side because I didn't stretch out the video. Another reason I chose to do this was because I didn't have to buy any equipment to do it. When I first started doing this, I did, quote unquote, buy. The only thing you needed was a program to edit videos together, and so what I would do is I would record the screen, like I would pull the game up on an emulator, which is, it's a program that does what it sounds like. It emulates, like for this it was the original PlayStation, so it tricks my computer into thinking it's a PlayStation, and then I would have a digital copy of the game, and I would play through that. So while I was playing it, much like I do when I record just various videos, I would just record the screen, and from the screen recording, I would record, the gameplay. Now, this is a secret that I don't think most people even know about, but because I was doing this, it was so taxing on my laptop at the time that the game was actually played in half speed. So I did my entire playthrough of Digimon World on half speed because my computer was so taxed when I was doing it. I think it was a pretty well kept secret. I don't know if anyone noticed. If they did, nobody said anything. But that's 4.5 years later. There you go. So part of the reason that I did so well was I posted my very first video and every video after that to the website Reddit. Reddit, in case you don't know, again, this is a video for anyone, explaining to anyone who doesn't know even the smallest bit. Reddit kind of has what they're called subreddits, and they all follow different things. They can be anything from pornography to news to just funny, people putting funny pictures, to Digimon. So I posted, after making the video, I uploaded it to YouTube, and this was after making like a brand new channel. And I made a post to Reddit, and I said, hey, this is my first, or I played this game, I wonder if people would enjoy it. And to my shock, people seemed to respond to it. And it got a little bit of buzz, very, very little. I think I must have gotten like maybe topped out at 50 views that first week, which is kind of crazy. Well, not that different from it is today, but people seemed really excited, and so I played through the rest of the game, and I posted all of the parts, and by the time I was done, I more or less had a tiny following. I think by the time I finished the game, I think I had 80 subscribers, which is just from 0 to finishing, and that's not bad, I guess. Well, no, it's not bad, plain and simple, not I guess. So then I tried playing other games to see what would like get a reaction, and I learned 2 lessons when I did this. One, people really came here for Digimon stuff. Like, they more or less don't really care about the other games that much. Some people do, and those people are great, but for the most part, Digimon is the most important part. And the other thing I noticed is do not start too many games at once, because it gets difficult to balance and finish them. A lesson I'm aware of, but do not follow to this day because reasons. So I started playing Sly Cooper, the original Sly Cooper for PS2. I started playing the Resident Evil 4 for PS3, and I started playing what was another one? It was Luigi's Mansion on GameCube, all different systems. So to do that, and I actually did this at the very last video of Digimon World. I went out and I was like, you know what? I think I want to try and do this thing a little bit more. So I bought a physical microphone. I bought a Snowball blue microphone, and I started using that. And I also bought a capture device, which was this the first one I bought was like called the Hopog or Hopodge. I don't know. It's something. And it was this big box, and it was shittily made. I could tell like it was just like big for no reason. Like you could tell that there was just like a tiny circuit board in it, but it was like bulky for no reason. And I used that to play the different games. So we're going to fast forward a bit. And a couple months later, so I had done this in July, and then at the end of October, going off of Reddit again, back when I did this, it used to be a big thing that on your Reddit anniversary, quote unquote, so like a year from when you signed up for the website, it would be your cake day, which was like, I guess you would get like, the best way to put it is you would get more notoriety for your posts slightly, like they would rise a little bit quicker and stuff like that. So I took advantage of that, and I started Digimon World 3. I skipped the second one, I went to the third one, and I used like the popularity on Reddit to try and like boost it. And it worked pretty well. Not only did people like, the people who had subscribed, who had wanted more Digimon stuff, they got their wish. And I got a few more people too. And it worked out pretty well. That game was a lot longer. For a few years, it was actually my longest series at 34 parts, ranging from like 20 to 30 minutes to like an hour and 17 minutes for the last part. And that worked out pretty well. I think it was, if not is, my most popular series to date. Or it was, I should say. And through the years, it would pretty much follow that pattern. I would play some games that weren't Digimon. I would play some games and then I would like weave in a new Digimon game. And that was, for the most part, how it went. The notable exceptions there are 2 notable exceptions. One is a few years ago. I think this was while I was recording, or while I was doing Digimon World 3. And I should say, the way I would do this is I would upload it once or twice a week, and then I would sort of fill in other videos during that time. So like Digimon would always be on a Friday, and then like whatever other game I was playing would be on like a Wednesday or a Monday. And as time went on, I would record more videos and stuff like that, so there would be like even more. But that was the general idea. So one weekend, I took the time and I spent all weekend recording all of the cutscenes from PSP game, which was the portable one. So I did this because it was a Kingdom Hearts game. Kingdom Hearts is a wildly successful franchise, but most people had only played 1 and 2, which were on the PS2. And then the PSP one I thought was arguably the best game out there. And I wanted more people to see the story if they could, because it was pretty important to the overall plot. Very nerdy reasoning, but it was selfless. So I spent all weekend cutting out every single cutscene from the entire game, and I uploaded it into 4 different videos. And I just uploaded them and I posted them in Kingdom Hearts subreddit. It did less well there, but because they have more people on their subreddit, even though it did less, it wasn't as popular for the post, it was still more people saw it than a typical Digimon post. And yeah, those are still my most popular videos to date. The only catch is I don't get any ad revenue from them, and they don't really represent my overall channel. So it was, it was something I don't mind. I worked hard on them, but they don't really do anything for me. They're just kind of there. And then the other notable exception is there was a video I did once while I was playing I was playing a Final Fantasy game, and it came time to do a challenge where you had to make your character dodge 200 lightning strikes in a row. One of the ones that it's not random. You trigger the lightning strike, and you can easily get 200 in 15 minutes. So just keep doing it. That's all. What I recommend here is count to 25 each time you do it. Then that way you only have to do it 8 or so times. And it's like the most notorious, like people hate doing it. It's like the worst thing in the game to do, because you have to sit there and like you have to sit there basically for like half an hour and just like stare at the screen doing nothing except pressing X every time a white flash comes across the screen, and then you dodge the lightning bolt. Nobody likes doing it. It's not fun. And so I was searching, and I searched through YouTube, and they had recently re-released the game on PS3, so it was like all HD and pretty. And I was searching YouTube looking for like an easier method to do it, because I was like, it can't just be this difficult. And I eventually found one, and it was like a very badly shot. Someone had taken like an old camera, like this was before smartphones even, and like had recorded their TV screen and showed themselves doing it. So I mimicked the person doing it in the video, and I made like a video showing like, hey, here's an easy way to do this. You can do it in like 15 minutes. And I released that. And that one was a slow burn. At first it did okay, but I guess it's now like, I think it's the top searched one. Whenever people search for that particular like thing, if they search like how to dodge lightning strikes in Final Fantasy, my video is like one of the top ones to show up. So it's done really well, and I actually do get ad revenue and stuff like that for it. But again, it's kind of a special circumstance because I don't really do how-to guides. I mostly just do, long form talking. So those are 2 notable exceptions where they've done really well, but don't really represent the overall like feel of the channel. So I guess I can talk about hardware now. So there are, I talked a little bit about it, where at first I just started off with a laptop, and I used the built-in microphone in the webcam to record my audio, which I can show a demonstration of now. What's up, everyone? Gonna do a let's play for. And then I would just record the screen, like I said, and then I would use Camtasia to fix and edit the videos. Ironically, I still use Camtasia to this day. There are definitely better programs out there, but it's updated itself enough where it's not terrible. Like, it used to be a lot harder, and like I couldn't edit videos together that were over like an hour and a half long, which was difficult for some projects. And and then eventually I bought the second version for actually capturing video. I bought the Hop Hog, which is like a big fucking box, and it was just awful. And eventually I was like, this sucks. So I bought the Hop Hog 2, which was like a sleeker version of it, but I still had problems with it. And then finally, after like watching like other people on YouTube and stuff like that, I found out that a popular one was called the Elgato Game Capture HD. So I looked into it, and I ended up I bought it, and I think I bought it at that time, and I got it's like this tiny little brick, but it's like very tiny, and all you do is plug your cords into it, and it honestly captures better than anything I've ever used, to the point where I am definitely loyal to this brand for the rest of my career in YouTube, because it has done everything I wanted and more. And it also came with a program called Game Capture HD, which is very on the nose like type of recording. Like, they might as well have called it'd be like calling your coffee brand coffee. And so I use that, and it's I love the program, and it does everything I want it to. So those were very fortuitous. Shortly after I got that, I went to a video game convention in Boston called PAX East, and I went and saw my favorite YouTubers, and I got a chance to ask them a question at like the microphone out of like a auditorium of like 4,000 people, and they liked my questions so much that they told me to come up, and one of them gave me a headset, and this headset was capable of recording, so I used that instead of the microphone I'd been using for a while, and it had slightly better audio. After a while, though, the headset started making like really fuzzy and like bad sounds, so I did have to give it up. But so it's at this point, I went back to Blue, the company that made the first microphone I bought, but I bought their like better version, and it's called the Yeti, and it's this big like regular styled microphone, like it's what you'd expect to see in like a recording studio. And it was fairly cheap. It was like around 150, 170. I say fairly cheap. I didn't want to buy it at the time. Like, I was like, this is too expensive. But then I bought it, and I was like, all right, I guess it's okay. More than earned its share. So that's like the hardware side. The other thing I want to talk about is the down points of my YouTube career. The first thing was going off the Digimon thing, eventually me and a friend watched the entire Digimon movie that came out 4 times. I'm glad to see that he was using it while they were doing that. Oh. Shut up, Patamon.
Who the fuck likes Patamon?
No one likes it. And we recorded our audio over that instead, and just like talked about it the whole time. Kind of like a Mystery Science theater thing, which is mostly what this channel is, but instead of video games, we actually watched an actual movie. And that was met with a fair amount of success. People saying, oh, you should watch this movie and this movie. Unfortunately, Digimon is pretty lax with its copyright laws, so we were able to get away with that. But unfortunately, this is what I meant. Every other movie is pretty on the ball about not letting people upload footage to YouTube. So naturally, the next progression was we watched the Pokemon movie, and we filmed it in July. Me, my friend Carlos, my friend PJ.
12-year anniversary. So like, when you have a DVD special, it's gonna be like the one video we never released. It went too far.
And I wasn't able to release it until about a year later in December because of so many fuck-ups. So I tried to upload the video, and YouTube said, oh, we can't show this. Like, the video is blocked in all countries because it contains footage from the Pokemon movie. So I tried to get crafty. I tried changing the color shaders. I tried changing like the shape of the video. I tried doing this and that. And YouTube kept catching it to the point where so I gave up. And then I tried again December of that year. It was actually Christmas Eve. And I kept trying to upload it in different ways. And finally YouTube said, all right, you've tried to upload too many videos that are blocked. So we're going to take away your monetization for 6 months. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I think this was before I'd ever gotten paid from ad revenue. So like for 6 months, I could gain no revenue on any ads from the videos, which it wasn't terrible. Like, it was like, it doesn't matter. I was making very little at the time anyway. I think I was like a month or two out from like getting my first paycheck. So instead I had to wait like 8 months for it. I was just kind of, it doesn't matter. Like, that wasn't the reason I was doing it at that time. It's not the reason I'm doing it now either. I should clarify. And then that sucked. And then the worst one that's ever happened to my channel this was actually, I want to say a year ago, maybe 2 years ago at this point. So I was taking a comedy writing class in fuck. I was taking a comedy writing class in college, and and we were supposed to be watching one of Louis C.K.'s specials, and the teacher was having trouble uploading it to our My Courses website. And so I said, "Don't worry, I've got a YouTube channel. I have the special. I bought it for $5 because I wanted to support Louis C.K. I'm a huge fan of stand-up. So I tried uploading it to YouTube just for the weekend, just to try and get people to watch it so we could talk about it in the next class. And immediately, the video was taken down. It was maybe up for an hour, and it was flagged by the actual Louis C.K. channel. And my YouTube channel had a copyright strike, which is the worst thing that can happen to a YouTube channel outside of removing it altogether. And so what it meant was I could no longer make videos longer than 15 minutes. I couldn't. There was a bunch of other restrictions too. I don't think I could do custom thumbnails anymore. Basically, it had dwarfed my channel to the point where I couldn't do anything. So I basically said, guys, I got to take a hiatus. I can't upload like this. And ironically, they didn't take away monetization, which is the one thing I would assume people who upload stand-up specials and stuff are trying to get. So for 6 months, I took a month off, and then I tried to, and then I made another channel, and it was getting much lower views, but I was still uploading things. So the loyal fans, quote unquote, loyal subscribers, were still watching things, and that was great. And but it was nowhere near the same thing. It was basically trying to start over, and it sucked. Finally, though, I went back to my main channel, and things have gone very smoothly since then. And the last thing I want to talk about is streaming, which has sort of risen up during the time I've been on YouTube. But it's basically, instead of people uploading live content or recording live commentary and then editing and stuff, there's more of a streamlined version of it, ironically, called streaming. Where people will, this one more or less is what I do, but there's a lot less editing. Basically, someone will play a game for hours and they'll talk the whole time, and there'll be a little chat that's on the side, and you can interact with your subscribers on the fly. And a lot of people prefer that to what I do. And honestly, I like both of them. I prefer the uploading videos by myself. I prefer streaming and talking to chat. But it was worth mentioning as a footnote, because that's something I think I started doing last year, and I'll typically do it once a week or so, just to have a chance to interact with my subscriber base. And that's more or less what I do. I could go on much longer, but the video is supposed to be 15 to 20 minutes. So that's the best. That's basically an overview of what I do and how I do digital storytelling. It's not quite a narrative going in between, but it's something that takes up about 10 hours a week or so, sometimes more, most of the time more, between editing and doing videos and stuff. But I enjoy it. So thank you guys. Thank you, Professor, for giving me this opportunity. And if my subscribers have any questions and if they want me to go any more in depth on anything, I think most of you know this stuff already, then I will. But thank you for watching, and I will see you guys soon.